right, welcome everybody to the Brown Carpet Podcast. My name's Corey Farrell.
And I'm Josh Groom.
And what do we do here, Josh?
Well, we take a couple of weird, real news stories and we adapt them into shitty movie pitches.
Oh, I like that.
Do you?
That sounds good.
Well, once we've done that, people can then jump on the Facebook and they'll see the poll that we've put up and they can vote on their favourite.
So just follow us on Facebook and Twitter and you can vote. It's like a democratic thing. Wonderful.
Just like they do in Russia. Get amongst it.
Delicious. All right, without further ado.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
He jumped over 3 linebackers in midair, sprouted headwards like a gazelle.
No one laughs at a master of quack fool.
Real nice.
Many have died from starvation due to the difficulty of finding enough food, such as sealed milk.
No more Mr. Nice Duck. That's it. Right, Mr. Sitz?
What do you make of that? You know, it's the most fantastic story I've ever heard.
The Brown Carpet Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Boxing Day, and it's episode 7 of the Brown Carpet Podcast.
David Fincher's 7. No, sorry. I thought that would be good time.
They say good things happen in sevens, Josh.
Do they?
Yes.
Who says that?
I do right now, because
It's been said.
this is the 7th episode.
It is. Did you get good gifts?
Did you make a relative cry?
Did you drink all the beer?
Did you watch Home Alone or Die Hard? You probably did.
Did Grandma get her box out? It's always awkward.
Did she open a box? And inside that box, a hanky. You didn't think I was talking about a vagina, did you?
No, I was talking about gifts.
Yeah.
What were you talking about? Shall we play paper, rock, scissors and see who goes first?
We should.
Let me look in your eyes for a little bit. Don't look away. Don't
No,
look
I
away.
know.
On 3. 1, 2, 3. I knew it.
Oh, okay.
I knew it.
Josh,
knew
all
where
is
you were going.
back to normal.
Yeah.
Josh wins.
Balance is restored. All right, well, my news story I found this week, the headline reads, Santa-hating pastor rants at children in North Pole tantrum.
That's not like religious people to rant.
No. Normally, it's the kids who freak out at the sight of Santa Claus, but last week it was an adult who had a tantrum. Pastor David Grisham, self-described Christian evangelist, taunted children and their parents who were waiting to meet Kris Kringle at the Santa Claus house in Alaska. I wanted to tell you kids today too that Santa Claus does not exist. Santa Claus is not real. The man you are going to meet today is a man wearing a suit, a costume, and it's make-believe. It's not real. Although the parents largely tried to ignore Grisham, some very confused-looking children could be seen watching him. There's a video clip, so we'll post that up on the Facebook page so you can see this freaking lunatic.
Yeah.
Your parents have been telling you a story that is not true. There are no flying reindeer. And at that point, a parent got involved. So that's the story, basically.
Yeah.
And it just annoyed me so much that dude is out there doing
Just
that
a
shit.
dick.
Just a complete penis.
And I love how he's like a priest pastor. He's like, I wasn't interfering. I'll show you interfering.
Oh, you haven't seen interfering
With
yet.
children.
Just you wait. So my adaptation, the title is Santa's Sack.
If it's not a dick, we've got a ball. We've got a ball.
Why do you
ball
go
bag?
that way? It could just be Santa's
Okay,
sack.
it could.
Yeah, it could be literal.
Sorry.
Always got to be about nuts with you. The movie opens at midnight on Christmas Eve, 1969. Dickie Crampton is a 13-year-old, played by Gaten Matarazzo, the chubby kid from Stranger Things.
Okay.
And he sneaks down the hallway in his Snoopy pyjamas. As he enters the lounge room, we see a family portrait on the mantelpiece of Dickie with his parents, played by Courtney Love and Woody Harrelson. Dickie approaches the beautifully decorated, bauble-laden Christmas tree where a large present with his name on it sits, silently beckoning him. He tiptoes up to the gift and drops down beside it. There's a noise behind him and he checks over his shoulder, but it's all clear. He picks up the box and checks the weight, giving it a slight shake, listening for any clues to its content.
Oh, Dickie.
Suddenly, his cat, Elvis Catsley, leaps out from behind the tree. Dickie jumps, bumping the tree base, and it rocks and then topples forward, crashing down on top of Dickie with violent force. A loose Christmas ball rolls past Elvis, who quietly licks his asshole as a crushed Dickie whimpers in pain. So then we flash forward to present day. We're in the waiting room of a psychiatrist's office, and a nurse enters. She asks for Richard Crampton. 60-year-old Dicky, played by Danny DeVito, stands up. He is a busted shell of a man. Dark rings under his eyes, his clothes are shabby, his hair is grey and dangles from his scalp in clumps like limp spaghetti, and he has a fresh black eye. He shambles into the doctor's office, where he collapses into the couch. Dr. Elfman, played by Bryan Cranston, looks up from his notes, immediately noticing the bruise on Dickie's face. Why do you do this, Dickie? It's Richard! Fine, Richard, why? I just fucking hate Christmas. The doctor scribbles some illegible notes in pencil before letting out a long sigh. He forces a smile and asks him to describe how he got the black eye. Dickie explains that he was down at the local mall doing his thing, as he always does at this time of year. We watch in flashback as Dickie kills the Christmas fantasy for another group of innocent children who had been excitedly waiting to meet Santa Claus.
Dick is a dick.
Dickie is a complete dick,
Yeah.
hence the name. On this occasion, though, he picked the wrong shopping mall, and a young dad wearing military dog tags, played by Zac Efron, has heard enough. Without a word of debate, the muscular dad puts down his crying daughter and drops Dickie like a sack of shit with the left hook.
Yes!
Yeah, you like that one. Back in the shrink's office, Dickie touches the black eye. It stings, but he vows to return to the mall the next day and continue his mission.
Don't do it, Dick.
Dr. Elfman's pencil breaks in frustration, and it all bubbles to the surface. He can't hold his tongue any longer. He straight up asks Dickie, "What makes you think that your imaginary friend is more important than their imaginary friend, you delusional douchebag?" A shouting match breaks out, and Dickie storms out of the office enraged. When Dickie arrives back at his car, a parking officer, played by Conor McGregor, is putting you see where this one's going, is putting a parking ticket under his windshield wiper. Dickie, still hot from his confrontation with Dr. Elfman, explodes into an obscene and abusive rant, jabbing his finger into the parking officer's chest. The officer calmly takes it in, waiting for him to finish, but Dickie rages on, insulting the man in every disgusting way he can, as the veins in his head throb and bulge. Finally, the officer has heard enough. He looks around to ensure no one was watching, then fires off a lightning-fast head kick that silences Dickie in an instant. He's out cold on his feet, but before he can drop, the officer cradles him and lowers him to a seated position, resting him on the passenger side of his car.
Oh, that's nice.
He looks peaceful. He's just sat down for a quick nap on the side of the road. The officer takes the parking ticket off the car, licks it, and sticks it to Dickie's bald head before leaving. We push in on the unconscious Dickie. Through the misty fog of time, we're magically back at Dickie's childhood home. It's 1969, and Dickie watches as his younger self creeps down the hallway towards the lounge and passes straight through him like a ghost. He turns to watch as little Dickie drops down in front of the gift under the tree. Suddenly, beside him is his mother from the family portrait, played by Courtney Love, wearing thick caked-on makeup and smoking a menthol cigarette. Dickie can't believe his eyes. Mama? Mama? Mama. So I wrote Mom because they say Mama. Mama? Is that you, Mama? In the background, little Dickie gets crushed under the Christmas tree. His mum laughs, a strained, slightly crazed laugh, and drags on the cigarette. If only your father was here to see this. For the next 30 minutes, his ghost mother then takes him on a tour through the lowlights of Dickie's Christmas experiences. All of the embarrassing and brutal events that turned him into the shell of a man that he is today.
Ah, the Ghost of Christmas Past.
Here we go. It's 1966, and we see him kicked in the balls by a donkey dressed as Rudolph at a Christmas-themed petting zoo. It's 1971, and we watch an overpowered Christmas cracker explode in his face at the dinner table, leaving him without eyebrows. It's 1964, and we see him wetting his pants while on stage singing Christmas carols. It's 1962, and we see him in a shopping mall where a severely drunk Santa, played by Tommy Wiseau, vomits all over Dickie just after he asks for a BMX bike. Finally...
Oh, hi, Dickie.
oh, hi, Dickie. Finally, and this is where we cue the scary music, hey? Just bring some
I can do that.
scary music
Yep.
up. Finally, it's 1977. We see a 21-year-old Dickie wake up on Christmas morning. Sitting on his bedside table is the exact same family portrait from the beginning of the film, now faded with age. Hanging from the doorknob to his bedroom door is a big red Santa's sack. He stumbles over. He picks up the sack, testing its weight. He unties the thick drawstring holding it closed and opens the mouth of the sack. His face turns white. He drops the sack and staggers backwards and falls. The sack hits the ground with a sickening thud and the contents spill out. A severed human head rolls across the wooden floor, coming to rest on its neck stump, lifeless eyes staring at Dickie. We recognise from the photo on the mantelpiece, it's his father.
Oh!
Boom! Cut to black. Surprise horror ending.
That's really good.
Thanks, man.
So it's a horror film.
Well, no, it's kind of like it's like a Grimm's fairy tale sort of deal.
Yeah.
With a surprise horror
A
ending.
little bit Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I took it to a dark place. So fuck you.
So, no, it's great. I like
Don't judge me.
I didn't judge you.
I'll go to a dark place if I want to.
I enjoyed it. So, yeah, you got a tagline for this bad boy?
I do have a tagline for this. The tagline is, "This Christmas, the past is coming to a head."
Oh, very good. Very good.
So I reckon budget-wise we could do it for like less than $5 million.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a fairy tale with surprise horror ending, so
Yeah.
there's no real special effects.
For the
apart from
ghost, though.
head.
Yeah.
A bit of ghost shit, but that's not too heavy duty.
Yep.
No crazy production design. Bit of 1960s period stuff. Casting-wise, we got Danny DeVito playing Dickie.
Yep.
Bryan Cranston is Dr. Elfman.
Yep.
Gaten Mazzarato is the young Dickie. Courtney Love is Dickie's mum. Woody Harrelson is his dad. Conor McGregor makes a cameo as the parking officer, and Zac Efron as the military dad.
I love it.
And I even got some music for it. I reckon we exaggerate and contrast musically. So
Yeah, okay.
as much as possible, the darker the scene, the happier the music. So for example, for the severed head scene, I was thinking All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey. Like really upbeat, jingly.
Just to make it just weirder.
Yeah, just to fuck it up completely.
Yeah.
And as all the dark shit that goes down, we hear all the classics, like Jingle Bells, Silent Night, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. So the darker it gets, the happier the music gets.
Put that in your
You know,
sack.
you know what? Actually made me think of the really super dark ending. Do you remember Gremlins? Which is a Christmas film.
I don't, but hit me.
In Gremlins, halfway through Gremlins, there's this story about her dad going missing. And then weeks later, it starts to smell in their house. And they find him dressed as Santa Claus,
Stuck in the chimney.
Like he'd gone up there and gotten wedged. And it's the most depressing, horrific story in this PG-rated kids film. And it always fucked me up as a kid. I was like, now I get the opportunity to fuck other kids up.
So in a way, you're like the pastor. You're ruining kids. Well, I mean, kids aren't going to listen to this, hopefully.
No, kids won't be listening to this. If you are a kid listening to this, switch off immediately because Corey's story is about to be disgusting.
It is.
Up and down the chimney, in and out, dropping his load along his Christmas route. Roasted nuts and a candy cane. Oh, Mrs. Claus sure can't complain, 'cause Santa's got a big old sack, which all his elves help to pack. His bells jingling all night long. Playboy!
Which brings me to my headline.
What's your headline for this week, Cause?
My headline is Bath Sold Home Invasion.
Of course it is. How is that? Sorry, how is that tied into Christmas?
Well, let me hit you.
Okay. Yeah.
If Clark, this is a summary of the story anyway.
Okay.
If Clark Griswold took bath salts, then it would probably go something like this. In 2011, a man named...
Is this the news story?
Yeah, this is like an abbreviation of the news story. In 2011, a man named Terry Trent of Dayton, Ohio, got blasted on bath salts, walked in the back door of his neighbour's house and decorated the place for Christmas. He lit candles and tastefully arranged them on the coffee and kitchen table. He even hung a Christmas wreath on the garage door and relished in the merry scene by blaring the television while playing with some toys under the tree.
Oh, that's the nicest home invasion ever.
I know. The sound from the TV woke up the 11-year-old resident of the house, who went next door to inform his mum about the strange man downstairs.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
That's pretty disturbing.
So... I've only got one title this week.
Could you stop wiggling the paper around, mate? This
Sorry.
is a professional
I know.
podcast.
I kill trees. I apologise. I've got one title this week.
Okay, hit me.
The Hand That Rocks the Dreidel. And it'll all make sense because there's some different denominations in my story.
Okay.
It's the mid-'80s. It's Christmas and it's suburbia in middle America.
We both went period beginnings. Can I just say that? Time-wise.
There's another link in ours and I'll bring it up when it hits there.
Okay, do me.
It's the mid-'80s, it's Christmas, and it's suburbia, middle America. A young boy is sitting on his trampoline watching the adults drink eggnog and talk loudly over one another. The festive feelings are soon shattered, though, as we see someone dressed as Santa have an altercation with another guest. We realise by the young boy's horrified reaction that Santa is his dad. Santa is subsequently beaten to death right in front of his eyes.
You have a go at me for going dark. You open your film with Santa being beaten to death.
Death! Oh! So he just watched his father die.
Happy Christmas, everyone, by the
way. We cut to a packed house at the annual news rating convention. News rating, for those of you who don't know, is the hobby of people who like to appear as bystanders in the background of TV shows and news broadcasts.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. It is here that a grown man named Sonny Toupee, played by Macauley Culkin, scans across the room only to lock eyes with a beautiful dark-haired woman named Mona Curtins, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Okay. Bit of an age difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not?
The connection between them is instant and far more exhilarating than any news feed they've hijacked.
Oh, they're both hijackers. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Feeling horny and alive, Sonny suggests they go grab a bite and Mona accepts. We see them laugh and flirt and can sense that these two will be horizontal very soon. Very matter of fact, this one. Here we see a relationship montage: dates, flowers, puppies, vacations, culminating in a romantic proposal. Mm-hmm. Mona excitedly accepts, but almost immediately her face changes. She explains to Sonny that for her to wed, he must convert to Judaism. Mm. Sonny says of course he will, and they walk off into the sunset. Cut to Christmas 5 years later. We find ourselves in suburbia again, only this time it's Sonny's house. We hear a baby crying, Mona reluctantly changing a nappy, while Sonny sits on the couch drinking beer watching TV. Mm-hmm. It is very clear that marital bliss is all but a distant memory, and they are both very resentful.
He's turned into a schlub.
He has. Sonny makes a snide comment about the menorah and dreidel on the table, and Mona breaks into a fit of rage. Sonny fires back how much he hates not being able to celebrate Christmas and barks some anti-Semitic things back he immediately regrets. Mona grabs their baby, along with all her things, and storms out.
Mate, I just want to break in here. This isn't going to go down another one of these racist rants, is it? Because
No!
This turns into like an anti-Jew thing.
It's not an anti-Jew thing.
Okay.
And for the record, I've never been on a racist rant.
Well, first episode.
Sonny, now drunk and alone, decides to dive into a stash of bath salts he's been hiding and ride the ivory wave to Valhalla.
Ivory wave.
At the peak of his synthetic drug binge, Sonny has the bright idea of spreading some Christmas cheer now that he's free from the shackles of his former forced faith. Sonny puts on some pants, washes his face. He wasn't wearing pants up to that point.
We've been looking at Macauley Culkin's dick for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. He's never had pants on the whole film.
Awesome. Nudity clause in Macaulay's contract.
Stunt cock.
Yeah.
Washes his face and heads to the neighbour's house. Little Tommy is home alone and startled...
I thought Little Tommy was the name of Macaulay's cock.
No.
Continue.
Little Tommy is home alone and startled by Sonny's entrance. Now, this is where our stories link. My Little Tommy's played by Noah Schnapp, the Will Byers from Stranger Things.
Okay.
We both had a Stranger Things.
We've now cast 3 Stranger Things kids in films.
You can't tell that we've just watched Stranger Things.
Watch that show.
Sonny reassures the boy that everything will be fine and to tell him where they keep their Christmas decorations. Here we see a montage of Sonny gliding effortlessly across the stranger's house, carefully placing tinsel on the tree, aligning stockings at perfect right angles on the fireplace, and even laying a wreath on the garage door. This all happens over the top of one of Michael Bublé's many Christmas albums. Tommy sneaks off into the spare room and calls the police. 10 minutes later, just as Sonny is putting the finishing touches on the Christmas lights, the police storm the house and fill Sonny with what can only be described as a hellfire amount of bullets.
Oh, Jesus.
Sonny, now lying in a pool of his own blood, looks at Tommy in the eyes and gargles his last words. Merry Christmas.
It's basically
a bloodbath.
It's a bath salt decoration frenzy ending in a bloodbath.
That's true.
And, sorry, what was the connection to the Santa that got beaten to death at the start?
There's no connection.
That's just an add-on.
It's just a dark past.
Okay, cool.
There's no real...
That's somehow connected to Sonny, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Sonny. He's the little boy.
Oh, he sees it as a little boy. Right,
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah.
Okay, it's character building.
So, to run through the cast again... tagline.
Yeah, have you got a tagline for this
I
one?
do. It's pretty... I'm not super happy with it.
Okay.
Tagline is, Sonny has high hopes this Christmas.
Right,
He's high.
He's high.
It's not that great, like I said.
Bath salt.
Budget, like $1 million, low budget.
Yep.
Sonny is played by Macauley Culkin, which he's perfect for the role.
Perfect.
Mona's Julia Louis-Dreyfus. How do you say her name?
Elaine from Seinfeld.
Yeah. Tommy and Little Tommy's Noah Schnapp from Stranger Things.
Yep.
The soundtrack is split up into 2. It's half Mattis Yahoo with a Jewish reggae vibe.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Christmassy stuff's Michael Bublé.
What are you thinking of putting over the beating Santa to death sequence?
Oh, that's a good one. Let's break that
Something
down.
festive
Actually,
for that scene. I imagine you'd need.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, and just as really like 1,000
Slow
frames a
motion,
second. That whole scene will go for 30 minutes.
Right.
That's-
Okay. Just a really long.
The whole thing's shot at 1,000 frames a
all on
second.
phantom camera, just Santa's face being caved in by a lunatic.
Yeah, it's and then it sort of comes into real speed, like a
On the impacts.
Yeah, like Drive. Ryan Gosling crushing that guy's skull in the elevator.
Yeah.
Mine starts and finishes quite dark. Yours ends very dark. So it's a pretty bloody Christmas.
It's a pretty blood-soaked Christmas. But that makes sense.
Yeah.
Santa died for our sins. That's
He did.
how the story goes.
He died on the cross for us.
Yep.
So yeah, that's.
I like it a lot, man. It's incredibly dark for a Christmas film. I'm wondering how
I'm glad
the producers are going to market this. Because mine, I sneak the darkness into it. Yours is upfront about it. Yours just comes right out of the gate with Santa being murdered. And then goes to kind of like a drug-abusing, angry marriage situation and ends in hardcore violence again. So
it's bookmarked by death.
it is bookmarked by brutal death.
Bookmarked by death.
Yeah. And in both of your deaths, a small child gets to witness it.
What does this say about me? Should I have children?
Definitely not. Definitely not. You should be banned. Sterilized immediately.
What you want now? What you want now? I'm on that best soap, man, I'm on that best soap. You tripped your ass off and it lasts that long. I'm so gone that I saw Jason with his mask off. But it's too strong and it stays too long. Kenneth's got a knife to his neck and a new song. It's a legal boom that'll lead to the E-room. Padded walls, damage all over that vessel.
So that's the two films for this week. We've got my film, which is Santa's Sack, and Corey.
My film is The Hand That Rocks the Dreidel.
So if you jump onto Facebook and check out the poll that'll be pinned to the top of the page, you'll be able to vote for one of those, which one you want a brown light. Just pick the one that you hate less.
That's right. And either way you vote, you're a horrible person because they both involve a lot of carnage.
And shouldn't you be spending time with your family, not listening to this shit anyway?
Yeah, stop being antisocial and go hang out with your family, eat some prawns or something.
Get out there.
All right. See you guys later.
Merry Christmas, cunts.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
He jumped over 3 linebackers in midair, sprouted inwards like a gazelle.
No one laughs at a master of quack fool.
Real nice.
Many have died from starvation due to the difficulty of finding enough food, such as seals.
No more Mr. Nice Duck. That's it. Right, Mr. Sitz?
What do you make of that? You know, it's the most fantastic story I've ever heard.
The Round Carpet Podcast.